There we go.
So Joe, have you been getting out to any of the clear moments, and I'll say moments in, in a very real sense?
No, I guess the short answer is no.
Oh,
You might have noticed I managed to get the challenge object
oh, I
image
haven't
using
seen
SLU
that. Oh, okay.
for the astrophotography sake.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that, but I've been so busy the last couple of days. I haven't really done anything other than my mission tasks.
Looks like Nathan's being attacked by something.
Looks like a peacock feather, if I'm not mistaken.
You're muted, Nathan.
Oh, I don't think Tess has ever been mentioned on Astro Cafe before, so that's pretty special.
We did those cartoons together.
Yep.
Hmm.
Astro Cafe. When you did an in-person presentation, I remember it. I wish I had recorded it actually, but we didn't at the time.
You'll have to do a reenactment.
They're willing.
Actually, what is the forecast? Has anybody looked for the next couple of days?
I know Saturday is looking good.
Oh, really?
I think kind of continuing to be the same. I think, is it Wednesday's not too good, maybe, and the other days?
You
I
think
also
we're
know-
actually going to get a clear Saturday night?
Well, we'll see. Yeah, actually, when they're even saying not too bad on Wednesday, so some clouds developing overnight and carrying on into the day, and then it's supposed to be clearing again with cloudy periods for Friday, Saturday, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've got a clear Wednesday, Thursday, seemingly.
Reg, do we get clear skies as you promised for Saturday?
He's being quiet.
We'll just see what Astrosphere.
I don't think that's what I said.
So on our quest there, David, it's a maybe for we'll see how well the clouds are doing, because we're getting close to the horizon by 7, so that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be prepared either way.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of myself, David. I made an animated GIF.
Excellent.
So beware
So-
of geeks bearing GIFs.
So does it look like it's building up? Does the image look like it's actually stacking and building up?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Oh, they look great.
Yeah, I thought that might be a fun thing to put on social media or something like that.
Yeah, they're lies though. It doesn't happen that quick.
No, I know that. When I did the Sharp Cap recreation through Folder Monitor, same thing. It doesn't stack that fast, but it's kind of interesting to see it build.
So one thing that David said on Saturday was you see some real improvement in the first few frames, and then it's very subtle. Is that what you're seeing, Dave?
Dave, are you going to respond?
There we
Oh,
go.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. But overlying that is me playing with the color saturation. So you see the picture improve very rapidly, but it's what the additional frames really help with the the color balance.
Yeah, I actually noticed in the simulation, it actually corrects the color. Actually, I was kind of fiddling with it, you know, in real time. If you're doing 30 seconds, 30, 60-second exposures after the first frame, you're really compelled to go and mess with the color balance. But I found out if you have all the images and you're doing a simulation of the stack, it does the correction for you. That seems to do that for me anyways.
Yeah.
It neutralizes the funny little green balance.
The ones I did, I sort of had a choice between making the peaks coincide or based on the star color average. Neither was really satisfactory. So you pick one, and then you've got the 3 sliders for the 3 colors. And if you just move one, like one tick, it can change the entire the entire color of the whole picture.
Well, I'll tell
Early
you,
on.
it's a real art. You have to kind of play around with it and try to figure out what's going to work, right, to display it. In the end, the narrators just want something to talk to. So
yeah, I got
whatever
there,
we come up with.
but sometimes it's funny seeing the colors change.
So you're having fun with the EAA? Is that working for you, or?
Yeah, not exactly in the way I thought at first. There's sort of, you know, there's an exposure rule that you have to get a certain amount of exposure. And if you don't, you won't get a decent picture no matter how many you stack.
Yeah, it would be nice to have idiot lights to say, oh, you don't have enough exposure. Crank up your
Yeah.
exposure. Or let me do that for you.
So, but if your expectation is to sort of watch a galaxy or a nebula sort of come alive, it kind of doesn't work that way, because each image has to have enough exposure. And so your first image has to be long enough to grab some detail. And then as I can't remember who was remarking, so after the first few exposures, your detail is essentially there, and the rest is subtle.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it's going to an asymptote or something like that, and then it
starts to plateau.
Yeah,
at some point it starts to plateau.
Anyway, should we get started for this evening, as it's a little bit past the half hour? I'd like to welcome you to the May 10th edition of Astro Cafe, and thank you for joining us this evening. So far on the agenda, we have Randy, who would like to show us a new gadget, Lauri to talk about our upcoming Astronomy Day, which is Saturday. David has a few things to talk about as well. Chris Gainor, we're hoping that you could, or if there's anybody else here, one of our national reps maybe, just give us a bit of a rundown on what's happening at the GA and a little bit of a preview of that. And of course, we have Edmonton photos courtesy of Dave. So does anybody else have anything for this evening? Okay, hearing none, I guess we'll turn the chair over to Randy.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to actually turn off my pretty picture of the moon because I'm going to show you something, and it's come on. There we go. You can't show things, they disappear. Okay, you might want to make it a bit bigger so I can show this off to you. Anyway, this is a Mother's Day present that I got. Even I have this deal that when it's Mother's Day, then Dad gets a present because I made a mother, and on Father's Day, then I get her a present. Anyway, so this was my Mother's Day present this year, and it's just beautiful. It's made by Kala in Vienna, and it's beautifully crafted. You can change many things. You can change the latitude. Let's see if I can. Do you see the letters on there? It's pretty subtle. Anyway, you can move the latitude with this guy here. And the goal is you put it, at 48.5 degrees, so that you put it there so that when you hang it up, then just by the virtue of gravity, it's going to hang vertically. And then there's this hinge here and a nice little mechanism so that it is held perpendicular. And so if you knew which way north is, then you would point this towards the north, and this axis here that I'm pointing with, that axis would be aligned with the geographic pole of the Earth. And this ring around here would then be parallel with the equator. Thing is, if I'm out there without a compass, how do I know which way north is? Well, the wonderful thing is we've got right in the middle, we've got this slider, and you can set it so that you're at the right date, because the sun is going to be above and below the equator. And so it's going to be at a very specific angle, so that when you hang this up, actually I have it set right now for a southern hemisphere as I was fooling around with it. That won't do. Let's move it over to here. That's funny that that happened. Okay, so this is now set up, and you hold it towards the sun. And I actually took some pictures when I tried it this weekend. So let me share my screen. So that will be this screen and the picture. Okay, so here you see my shadow and my telephone that I'm using to do the selfie. So I'm holding this, and I know kind of which way north is going to be, so that gets me in the right angle. And you put this element which is aligned with the pole, and it's going to be a the hole is here. Interestingly, that's above this circle. I'd have to think about why that's the geometry. And then you look for the circle of the sun. So this little point here, and you read the time. So there is 2 o'clock, and then that's 2:30. And so this says it's about 2:20. Now it's not 2:20. This was actually getting towards 3:30, but there's an hour because of the daylight saving time. And we are at 123 degrees longitude, and the sun, our time zone is based on 120 degrees. So that would be another, it's 4 minutes for every degree. So there's about 12 minutes there. And then you have the equation of time. This curve, which is how the Earth slows down and speeds up over the year for reasons of clockmaking, they like an average second every day, when in fact, the speed of the sun going around the Earth varies by up to 15 plus or minus 15 minutes around the 24 hours. So we have to do what's called the equation of time. And so for mid-May, then it's about a 4-minute correction. So you have to know your longitude, and then with knowing that it's 12 or 13 minutes for the longitude, and then another 4 minutes for the equation of time, then you can actually work out what the actual time was. But it was very accurate. I was able to get the time to within about 3 minutes, I think, when I was fooling around with it on Sunday afternoon. I didn't have a lot of sun. Sun was hiding behind the clouds most of the time, but I got this picture. And again, it is just the most delightful piece of machining. It's simply made, but it seems to be quite precisely made. And this company, it's called, oh heavens, can I remember? It's called Kala, and it's just a family in Vienna that makes it. And they say they've been making them for 20 years. And I think it is absolutely wonderful.
Randy, do they make any other astronomical objects?
I haven't had time to look yet. That's a very good question, because
so I just put up a screenshot so you can see the engraving on it, and you can see
that's
that
nice.
Randy's photos. It's really nicely engraved. The camera doesn't do it justice when it's there, but it's beautifully made.
And
Yeah,
Chris, you have one. So are you using yours?
Yeah, I haven't actually had it out for haven't had it out since May started, but I've had it out in April. Yeah, it does a good job.
How
So
long have you had yours?
I got mine as a Christmas present.
Yeah, I was gonna ask whether you independently got yours, or
Yeah.
did they just suddenly come onto the market?
I think I saw it through a Facebook ad, interestingly enough.
Eva,
It's a good
has
teaching
now-
tool. Yeah, good teaching tool.
it totally is. It's very in your face. It's surprising that you don't need to know which way is north and still get an accurate measurement. So in fact, it is a compass as well as a timekeeper.
Mhm. Yeah, and it didn't take too long to learn how to use. I was kind of, the first few times I kind of would start again. I go, now which way? Oh yeah, it's that way.
So you figured it out without instructions?
Well, there are some instructions.
Okay.
It tells you how to unfold it basically, but it's pretty, there's what really the slide on the centerpiece moves up and down by month. I don't know if you can see there's a month scale on there. So the black piece with the hole in it goes to the top in the northern hemisphere in the middle of summer and to the bottom in winter. So we're getting close to the top. So the top being, the piece to Randy's left there, our right.
Mhm.
So you can see the A through the there. So that's showing that it's kind of in and around April and above.
Well, actually,
Actually,
no,
that's August, isn't it?
that's
Sorry.
August. It's
That's
then May
August,
on the
yeah.
other side.
May, I can't see the other side. Yes, it'll be M on the other side.
Randy, is it made of brass?
Yep.
Hmm.
So it is, it's molded and then engraved machine, but it looks like it's a combination of molding and machining.
So it'll probably eventually develop some kind of patina, right? I
I
would
guess
think.
it will.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you
Very
very
nice.
much.
Thank you. Excellent.
It's a thing of beauty. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Lauri, I think you're up next, and I'll just need to Hold on, I need to get the participants up there. I tried to spotlight you there, Randy, and of course we've left you spotlighted. There. Is that working? Yeah. Okay. So, gallery, there we are. Okay, Randy or Lauri, I think you're muted still.
There we go. First of
I'll
all,
spotlight you. Let's see so we can
thank
see. There we
you
go.
to everybody who helped on the weekend, who came up to the center and who helped from home to do a practice run of the webinar for next Saturday's International Astronomy Day that we're having. It will be from 7 until 11 at night. There's kind of some pre-interesting things that are happening before kind of the official welcome at 8 o'clock, and then the main program, and then later on we'll be having Plaskett and EAA. I've got a little bit of a schedule for you there, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who helped out and who saved me from utter doom and destruction, because I had not ever done a webinar before, and I was very happy to hand over hosting and co-hosting abilities to everybody else who seemed to be able to make it go. So thank you to all of our people. So Dave and Randy and Chris and Sid and everybody else who helped. That was great. So I've got actually 3 things that I'd like to show tonight. So I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm going to just do 3 things here. We'll just kind of do this. There we go. And so the first thing that I want to do, this is also May 15th, kind of on the same day, is the Royal Astronomical Society is launching a new program for children called Creation Station. And it is a place for children to have a place to put stories and drawings and comics and poems and things like that, that what we call is the A in that acronym of STEAM. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And so we're trying to put that A in the STEAM part by having a place on the website, on the new website that is going to be that is there, and children can submit any of their work and put it in to the website. Then we are going to be curating some of them just to make sure that everything is okay, and then putting their work up on the website. And a couple of things that we want to do is that knowing where the kids are from, we're asking the parents and the children if they would like to be connected with their local center, who may decide with them to show some of the work that is done. So that if we had some children from the Victoria area who would like to, who put something in that is pretty good, that we could either have it recorded, or we could have them come online on a virtual session and either read their story or their poem or show their work that they're doing. Right now it's a pilot project for the next little bit, and then we'll hope to expand it out to other media. So we're looking at, would the kids like to put in a video, or would they like to put in a musical selection, or would they like to do something that is a little bit different than that kind of thing. So, but we're just kind of keeping it fairly short right now. So if you have any children in your families, any grandchildren in your families or anything, we would love to have this done. The website and the email that everything is going into will be actually live, will be put up live on May the 15th. I've got nothing else to do on the 15th, so this is just something else that will be kind of done. And then hopefully we'll get some work in between May and June. And we're actually hoping that we will be able to have some students' work actually at the GA, so that if we might be able to have somebody showing us what they can do at the GA for June, for the end of June. So that's the first thing. And I'm going to ask that people who are online here, who do Facebook or have got some things for the website, I would like to give you some information and have this put up on our website, possibly put up on our Facebook page. Well, yes, and then be put out so that the people in our area will know about it. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is the Star Party, which is going to be this coming Saturday from 7 to 11. And I have got the website, the webinar website where you register. It is going to be your registered program. So if you've not, or it's really quick and easy. When you go, they just ask you for your name and email. And then you will be given some reminders and the link again, and you'll be given your own link, so that it won't be kind of put out to the public. It'll be an independent link that you will have on your own. So right now, what we've got, I just sent this out, and I'm hoping that some people might have gotten it. If you're Chris or Randy or something, I sent it out on in an email. I sent this out on Slack, and hopefully you'll get that if you're on Slack. So the first hour is going to be our wonderful people on the Solar Telescope, Sid and Chris, and with David helping a little bit there, a lot. And we'll have also a virtual tour, and we'll also have some of the historical photos. And this is just kind of so that between the three parts, we're just going to have kind of things be looped again, so that we've got about an hour of programming. So anybody that wants to come into the program earlier can simply have some things to be looking at. Then at 8 o'clock, we'll have our introduction, and then Kim Venn from the university will be our speaker. She is talking on fossil stars, like the oldest stars of our galaxy, and how we can find out from them having not the metallicity that they normally have. We can find out about how stars were formed really, really early in our galaxy. And that's one of her specialties. So she's going to be talking about that. And then starting at just before 9 o'clock, we have our fabulous astrophotography gallery that Margie Welch-Frame and David Lee have been working on really hard. And just to we're dividing it up into 4 sections. And so each of these little sections is going to be a number of the images from our astrophotography gallery. And it's all backed by Vox Humana, which we've been very lucky to be able to get permission to use some of their recording in the background of it. It's just lovely. If Margie and David have done a fabulous job of this. Karun Thanjavar is going to be giving us a tour of the observatory up at UVic, and then we have our own famous Nathan Hellner-Messelman and Jason Beeman, who's going to be doing some Ask an Astronomer. And we're going to be asking that people send in some of their questions beforehand if they'd like to, or right at the beginning of the program if you've got some questions. And I would like to not ask an astronomer, but stump the astronomer and see whether or not you can find something that's really, really tricky and that they have to work hard to be able to do. And then we've got, because unfortunately the planetarium, all in the middle of everything, kind of has gone down. We've lost the projector, and that's going to be like $10,000 to replace. But so we're not going to have the planetarium, but Aaron and I are going to see if we can get the Blacklight constellation show up and running, and hopefully we'll be able to get that to work for you. And then at the end from 10 to 11, we'll be having some things from the Plaskett telescope and also from the EAA. people have been working so hard on, and we're talking at the very beginning, was getting everything done. So we're going to be working on that, and that's going to be narrated by UVic students. So so that will be quite fun to do. So we hope that you will be able to at least sign in for part of the time. If you register, then you'll be able to kind of come in and out. So if there's something that you'd like to hear and then kind of go and then come back again, that would be fabulous. So that's that one. All right, and the last thing I'm going to do is on Thursday, this coming Thursday, Kelvin Schmidt and I, who work with the school programs at the FDAO and with Sid with the RASC, are going to be doing a program for Science Odyssey, which is the special national program for science right across Canada. And it's been going on, actually, it's on for 2 straight weeks, and people put in programs, and the public come and go into whatever. There's all kinds of things on not only but astronomy, but on ecology and on marine life and on geology and everything, and all this kind of thing. So we're doing a virtual tour of the telescope on Thursday between 7 and 7:45. And this link that is here is actually to the Center of the Universe events website, and right on there is just the Zoom link, and you can just simply go in and be with us and join in. So that's it's not reservation or anything. You just simply have to join into the Zoom link for that. So it's going to be a rather busy week, and we hope that we'll survive. Yes. So I'll take any questions or anything, or if anybody has anything else, I can stop the share here.
Good work, Lauri. I hope it will be a beautiful, successful, sunny weather for us.
Yes, I hope next week is very sunny. Reg, what does the weather look like? Oh, guru.
I just made an agonizing reappraisal of the situation.
No.
And it looks like a frontal system over northern Vancouver Island that will be there around 5 p.m. is going to slump slowly southwards towards the Dominion Astrophysical Observatory.
Right over the top, right?
But it looks like it's going to be a very weak system, and it's a long way off yet. And it'll be kind of just tattered veils of high cloud, I think. Okay. So hopefully.
Could you start blowing, please? Blowing the clouds back towards the north.
Anyway, everybody can join us for a little while anyway. So thanks, everybody.
What's the status of the Plaskett?
The status of the Plaskett is that I'm still not sure whether Dan is going to be able to get in there, but Aaron has got pictures, has got photos like that have been taken by the Plaskett, and we've got a whole set of them. So if we can't be live, we can throw in our lovely pictures that we have. Yes. So
I just got a report from the Plaskett telescope. It's still on the hill.
Oh, good. Thank you, Nathan. Great. I have to check again with Dan, but yeah.
Well, it's a new attempt for, doing something new for us, so we'll see how it goes. And
so Damien, I had sent out to the people who were part of the program a new schedule. I'm hoping that we'll be able to have something up on the RASC website that will be there for the next few days. Can we do something with that, Malcolm or Joe, to get the link up for this next week so people can go in and have a look?
Just send me the info and I'll post it on Facebook and the website.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
So any further comments or questions? Okay, I think we can move on. So David, David has arranged a speaker for next week and also has some other things he wanted to talk about. So I don't know what order you want to do them in, David.
Okay, I guess I start here. So I've been busy. I've been attending a virtual NightScaper conference down in Utah. And I have to tell you, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but nightscaping has sure become a lot more sophisticated. That's all I have to say. It's 3 days worth from 8 to about 5 with a 2-hour break in between. But they've had some just amazing speakers. It started off with Yuri Beletsky. He's a professional astronomer from Chile, but he's also almost like a full-time professional astrophotographer as well. And he gave us some insight about what one would expect in the sky. And in fact, I was quite intrigued by the fact that he talked about air glow. And air glow, as I've told many of you, I've always suspected there was something up in the sky that I couldn't explain and that often would just go away. It would be kind of like sky would get bright and sky would go away. Air glow apparently is a very real thing. And Yuri actually showed us some of the imagery that he took. And he says, yeah, it's almost constantly there. It can be anything from green, which is the very common thing, or even red, actually, red sometimes. But apparently during the day when the sun hits the outside atmosphere of the Earth, it disrupts oxygen atoms or molecules or something like that, and causes them to get to some kind of excited state. So in the darkness, they start to kind of try to recover from that, and then as a consequence, release energy and they glow. So they're very, very common apparently. He also talked a little bit about sky color, like we often talk about, well, what should an object look like in the sky? And he talked about expectations of what colors might be. So yeah, that was quite fascinating. The techniques that nightscapers are using, we know that often nightscapers have been just tripod only type photographers with really high speed lenses, but a lot have moved on to trackers, of course, but in a big way, they have started using panoramas. Now, I've tried a little bit myself, but some of the panoramas that some of these folks have done have been just stunning. They even offered as a solution to, if you can't own really expensive lenses, do panos, because often if you do enough kind of overlap in terms of your panorama, only the good chunk of your lens is going to be showing. So that's a nice piece of advice for people that don't have the money or don't want to spend a lot of money on their lenses. So yeah, there's been techniques like that. Lots of interesting planning tools. There was one tool which I was surprised by. There's a panoramic tool called PT GUI, which I remember from 10, 15 years ago, and never gave much thought to it once the panorama assemblers that came out afterwards came out with proper interfaces and things. And PT GUI apparently has grown up, and it's kind of like a full-fledged program now with a proper GUI. So it's quite good apparently in terms of stitching things together. So I'm certainly going to start experimenting with that for stitching mosaics. We got some insight from the National Park System. There was an ex-national ranger there who does astrophotography. So he gave us some insight about photographing in the national parks. And I had not realized the level of restrictions there may be in some of these parks. Apparently there's permits required. In some cases, there are actually lotteries to actually even get in. So yeah, so that insight was good for me, because I hope to at some point get back down there to do some landscape and astrophotography. So the one last thing I'll mention is I was pleased by the number of female astrophotographers. often thought of as being a male domain, there's certainly a lot of up and coming female astrophotographers, and I'll have to tell you that their work is amazing. Jess Santos kind of really just left me speechless, like in terms of some of the work that she's done in terms of sort of building a very natural looking landscape along with her Milky Way shots. I don't know if many of you remember, but it was quite fashionable to use light painting for a lot of nightscape landscape work. And it seems to have kind of fallen out of favor now. So a lot of people are actually blending blue hour imagery in with their Milky Way shots, which look pretty nice. I actually prefer them. They're actually very, very nicely done that way. So anyways, I'm really looking forward to day 2 and 3. Alan Dyer is going to be there. A lot of fairly big names in the States in Nightscape, and highly recommended. It's probably too late to join now, but I certainly will be bringing back some of the techniques to this group at some point. So that's Nightscape. Let me just see where my other thing is here. And here we are. So many of you have requested perhaps a talk on spectroscopy. And Tom Field sort of popularized sort of amateur uses of spectroscopy. Well, probably a little over 10 years ago, I kind of looked at RASC folio to see the first spectra that I had taken of Vega. And sure enough, it's really quite funny. I had used Maxim DL to actually do the graph, and Tom left a little note underneath in the comments and said, "Oh, you might want to try RSpec." So RSpec is his software product that actually displays spectrographs. So I'm really looking forward to his talk. He's a very entertaining speaker, and he'll sort of take us through what sort of things you can do with a relatively inexpensive grading, and some of the kind of different projects that one can do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to provide more details to Chris to sort of post. And just one parting note, this whole thing about spectroscopy and my investigation into variable stars and some comments from some of the SIGs have got me to thinking about potentially maybe creating a citizen science group or a citizen science SIG. A lot of people have been, like for instance, the AAVSO, which I now belong to, they encourage their members to sort of observe and then submit things to their database. It's certainly a form of citizen science. And I'm sure there's lots of projects where we can contribute in a way to science itself. So let me know if you're interested. I think there's certainly enough interest already within some of the other SIGs for this. But if you've thought about doing something science related in terms of this vocation, just let me know and we'll create a new SIG. Anyways, any questions? If not, I will stop sharing.
Okay, thank you, David.
Of Nightscape.
Yes.
What is the definition of Nightscape?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. It's a flavor of astrophotography which blends earth and sky. So there's usually always some kind of land component, and then the night sky. There's a big debate about that. Like some people say, as soon as you leave the terrestrial domain, it's not really nightscape anymore. It becomes more like I don't know, deep sky or just straight astrophotography. But I heard recently from somebody that there's now a blend or even a hybrid of that. So what Nightscape people are doing now is they're shooting deeper into the sky. So now you have these landscapes with fully articulated nebula and galaxies in the sky. And I thought, oh my God, I mean, they're really kind of amping it up here. The lines are really blurring. That's the other thing that I really noticed about the conference. They're using techniques from everywhere. I often wondered how they did those really nice landscapes. And I didn't realize they were using focus stacking, but they're actually focus stacking. There's not one focus for the landscape. So they get pin sharp landscape and pin sharp Milky Way.
It's becoming quite controversial actually in some circles because it's blurring the line between photography, science, and art. And so
Well, you know,
the debate rages.
yeah, I've had that discussion with lots of people, and you know, I like to think of myself as much artist as scientist, and I'm okay with art as long as it's displayed as such. I would never pass off art for science. That would be wrong. Like, we wouldn't do that. But I think most of the nightscapers are there for the look. So they're not totally obliged to remain faithful to what might be real. A lot of them, like they said that they couldn't even create some of these because of the restrictions in the parks. Like, for instance, you can't stay overnight in some of the parks. So they typically take the Milky Way shot from somewhere else, and then they go at dusk or dawn to shoot the foreground. So that's how they're made, right?
And they'll quickly shoot the background sky so they can match it up.
Yep, exactly. And there's new tools as well. I'm just shocked by the proliferation of both software and hardware methods to sort of enhance this ability to capture these images. Oh, one last thing. They actually had some very science-based sessions where Bryony Richards, who's a geologist from University of Utah, she broke down the science of colors in the night sky. And she did kind of an analysis of what kind of colors do you actually find in the sky, and what do they mean, and how do they relate? So that was actually a really good session as well. Anyways, do you have any questions? I'm sure the little tips and techniques are going to pop up here somewhere. So yeah, let me know if you're interested in any of the things I saw.
Yeah, thanks for your summary.
David?
Yes.
Just going back to the maybe more mundane, I think the skyscape is really interesting. But was there anything on the air glow about?
Yes. Well, they explained it at least, and I, as I say, Yuri Beletsky led off. He's actually a professional astronomer, and he mentioned about how it happens, about the breakdown of dioxygen or something like that.
Yeah, and the elevation in which the
yep. He had a chart that showed where it occurred. It was relatively low down, and then there was
really?
a red glow above it, a red glow air glow section.
Yeah, that's interesting. We certainly noticed it when from dark, clear sites changing. So yes. Low down, when in areas of extreme or exposed to extreme light pollution, would that influence this?
Well, you know, it's interesting. The chart that he showed us was a mix of the contribution of air glow and light pollution. So it was kind of like a layered chart in where some of these things occurred, because he was saying, okay, we have starlight, and then we have all these other things, and they all accumulate to put signal onto the sensors, right? And yeah, it was fascinating.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, and the Dark Sky Association is there as well, so they're giving some talks too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, David. Chris Gainor, can you tell us a few things about the GA that is coming up? I guess, and even by starting off by reminding us of the date. And still muted, I think. There we go.
Yes. So the GA this year is the last weekend in June, which is the full moon, I believe. So that was kind of dictating the timing of it, rather than any love for being going in late June. And just a second here. Just give me a second. And so the committee for the GA is which I'm a part, as put together quite an exciting schedule. Can you see that?
Yes.
So so our, just flicking over here, if I can. This is our main speaker, Emily Calandrelli, and I can't say I know her that well, but she's very well known, kind of to the younger set. And this is what we're trying to do is create an event that's of wide interest, that goes beyond kind of the what we've had in GAs, or at least until the recent past. So and then we've also got Katie Mack, who's a astrophysicist, and I see her on Twitter all the time. She has quite an active Twitter feed, and she's supposed to be quite a good speaker. And then a couple of other speakers here. And so we will have all this. We're going to have a panel discussion on Mars, as you see here. And of course, the usual things such as our annual general meeting and things like that. So we are going to be charging this year, but it's a pretty reasonable charge, $15 to attend for the weekend, and so we're and as you can see in the schedule, we have a lot of activities coming up. So that's the General Assembly. So do we have anybody have any questions? I guess not.
Okay, well,
so
thanks.
Anyway, hopefully our I think this is I thought our General Assembly last year was pretty good, especially given the circumstances. And I think this is good, but of course we're all looking forward to having in-person GAs again, starting next year, I hope. And yeah, and Lauri is just mentioning that the registration is fairly easy and straightforward, which it is. I just registered a little while ago.
Chris, is the national website relatively stable now since the move?
That's what I've been told.
Okay.
But the GA website is running separately.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So the national website. I think our folks in the national office last week were pretty damn busy because, there were so many things that were kind of jury rigged, including the websites and relationships with some of the centers in national. I was told there was like one center, was like one email that went through the famous server at St. Mary's University, and of course when that went, their whole setup kind of went down. So I think
the intent is to clean up all that infrastructure, right?
That's right. That's right. So we have a new system for that, but more importantly, we have a new system covering our store and our memberships and all that stuff, because it was becoming more trouble than help, so and of course now this is such a core service of national, handling all that stuff so that the centers don't have to do that. So it was, you know, of course, we wish this had happened a couple of years ago or sooner than it did anyway, but, you know, as I've said many times since I've gotten involved in national, if there's one thing I have learned about being involved in national, it's how difficult and time consuming and troublesome these sort of websites can be. And I think I don't have to say that to those of you who are in the IT biz or are happily retired from it now.
Well said.
Maybe I'll just mention on that note, as I understand it from the national office, the support is going to members at this point, for example. So those who are on the our council, we do not have access to our membership for the center at the moment. So there isn't a center that hasn't been restored yet. So currently the work has been on getting all members back, hopefully into their accounts. And hopefully you did see that you did need to reset your password, and that wasn't brought over. So if you haven't done that, that is something you will have to do to be able to get into your membership records. So if your renewal is coming up, you may need to do that if you're like me and have a membership.
I found that was fairly straightforward, you know, because you use your email and then you know, a password. And I'm still kind of getting used to the new setup for the discussion lists and things like that. It's a little different, but
so this system does support a whole bunch of different things that were done, you know, split up, like this server that was at St. Mary's University. This system now can do bulk emailing and things like that. We won't be using it in our center because we have our own resources to do that. But as Chris said, quite a few of the centers were using national resources to do the communications with center members.
yeah, I remember about a year ago, we had a fun situation where the St. Mary's was closed down because of the pandemic, and then there was an earthquake or a storm or something, and you know, so all those things went down for a couple of days till somebody could get in and fix it. So
yeah. And one of the other things that will be moving to a new look, and I don't think it has yet, is the store.
yeah.
So there'll be new commerce software as well. So that, and one of the things we were told at a membership meeting too is they've worked to get better shipping rates, because one thing that it was, anybody who's bought anything noticed it was the shipping charge could be quite steep, and they've worked to get a better rate on that. So hopefully going forward, it won't be such an issue to buy things through the national office. And certainly to get things to British Columbia, I mean, it's a I don't think it's really, well, other than the Yukon, I guess it's not any further, it's the furthest point almost, I think. So our shipping rates
Still
tend to be
having
higher.
some difficulty with the new forums and workplaces and things like that. So I know that there's been some grumbling, you know, on the list, but it does take time to get everything all settled out and things. So
Yeah, and they are a little different.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you introduce new software, you create new problems. Right? For every problem you solve, you probably create 2 or 3 new ones. So that we didn't know we had. So yeah. So they'll you know, we'll muddle through, and but if you do have issues, please reach out to me or to the national office. As Chris said, resetting the password seemed to go smoothly, and there'll be some bumps along the way with other things. But anyways.
It's just change.
It is.
People don't like the change, and they don't want the forums. They just want their old-fashioned email back. And the thing is forums have been around for decades, and it has a very old-fashioned forum look to it. So I don't know. It works fine. You can still get it as an email from like the national email list. So
yeah, change can always be a challenge. So we have some photos from Edmonton. So I'm going to see if I can get that up on the screen. And Dave, if you're available to narrate, and I hope I've got them in a semblance of order and the right information with the right pictures, because I did change the order a little bit. So let's see. What
I think you may have got it right. Finally, we had a little bit of trouble with some links that didn't go across email very well.
Okay, let's see if this will work. All right. So hopefully.
So this is Comet. What is it? A4, Atlas C4, so Atlas C4, and these were taken in the last week or so. This is Arnold. He's got a close-up in color. It's a sample of stacked images, a stacked image that he put together to focus on the comet. So it's got a neat color. I don't think you see that when you're looking through the eyepiece.
No, I'd imagine you'd see a little bit more. Should I show the next one?
Pretty phases. The next one.
Yeah. So this is kind of what he's seeing in, was it 30 seconds?
This is the wide field view. Now, what I want you to look at here is look at the 2 stars above it and the 1 star below the comet. And so then
these
if
3
you show
stars.
the next image, that's at the beginning of his stack and that's at the end. So you see how much that comet has moved in about a 30-minute or hour-long period of time. It's trucking right along.
I'll go back again. So you see it was between those 2 lower stars, and now it's actually below the lower of the stars. So it had gone from about there to there. In between, what was that? Actually, I guess it's 6:20 and 7:43. So about an hour and a bit. But still, it had moved a lot.
Right. And then this is same comet, but this was taken by Alistair Ling out at Blackfoot about the same time. And of course, what he's done is he's exposed primarily for the comet, so you're not seeing much in the way of background stars. And this is a pretty close-up image as well, not wide field at all. And that's the wide field one by Alistair. So you can see that there's the comet up in the top left. And at the bottom right, there's a faint fuzzy patch, and that's actually the
you mean that
Comet Berenices is down in that neck of the woods. So Comet Berenices, the bright star to the left, and that's actually an Able galaxy cluster down that faint fuzzy patch. So that's Alice.
Great. Now we'll see if this will work. Oh, yeah.
And this is the GIF video that was put together actually by Arnold. So he's taken those images that he took that before, about 30 seconds each, and he stacked them all nicely colored on a close-up view. So you can see how much that sucker moves over that hour and a bit. That's pretty much all they've been doing. The weather hasn't been spectacular in Edmonton for the last little bit.
But they got some interesting photos.
Yeah. At least they've had a chance to get out.
Great. So I think that's all we had on the formal agenda for this evening. Are there any other follow-up comments or other things? So we've got a busy Saturday coming up. And a guest speaker next week. And am I correct, Randy, for those who are on council, a council meeting next Tuesday?
Oh, heavens.
I think that's what we had said last one, but I could be wrong on that.
Well, thank you.
But who knows?
I was just going to say, Chris, tomorrow is Andrea Ghez. Is the speaker, the main speaker, the Nobel laureate, is the main speaker for the Canadian Astronomical Society, and that's the Helen Sawyer Hall lecture tomorrow night. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, and it's on the RASC YouTube channel and also the Casca site. Or one's on Facebook and one's on YouTube. And it's all free, and you just go there and find it. And she's talking about supermassive black holes. So
Great.
tomorrow, we don't get to hear Andrea Guez very often, so there you go.
And if you have the link to that, maybe that's something that could go to Joe, if that's okay to throw on the website.
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, I've already publicized it to the Facebook group.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to say that on the 31st, there's no Astro Cafe on Victoria Day, which is the 24th. On the 31st, Lisa and Bruce Cameron are going to talk about them moving Bill Allman's observatory to their place. And if there's anybody else who can talk about observatories, I think it would be a stunning segue. That'd be really good if anybody has information about observatories. Is there anybody who could talk about the VCO? How old is the VCO now?
11 or 12.
Just over 10 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we had our anniversary very quietly.
And maybe, maybe Sid could tell us a bit about his observatory. Is one person I know who has one.
That'd be
Yeah, the only other observatory that has moved in such a dramatic fashion as Lisa and Cameron's was
it George Ball's?
George Ball's observatory moved to Bruno's place using a crane and a big truck and all that sort of stuff. Quite dramatic. We have lots of photos of that.
And where did it go after that?
It just sort of disappeared.
I thought it went up to
Well,
the
it's up
Comox Valley or
island.
something.
It
Yeah.
went up
Yeah.
island
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's being used.
Comox Valley, I think.
Who got
Okay.
it?
That's a good reminder for me to get in touch with my friend Roman and find out how things are going with the observatory for the 32-inch scope in Edmonton. I do have some photographs of when that observatory, which used to be the dome that belonged to the University of Alberta, I have some photographs of them moving the dome and setting it up on the new site. So I could scrounge those out too.
You have a whole program now.
Yeah,
I think that sounds
And
really good.
that's after which week is that? That's
31.
Yeah, 31st.
for the month. Okay, I'll do
2
that.
weeks tonight, isn't it? Yeah, or 3 weeks tonight.
I'll see if Roman has any updated photographs of the constructed
Yeah.
telescope.
Okay.
I had a phone call with them, and they're just so excited about it.
Did they mention where the equipment went? Did they take it too, or did
No,
they just take
no,
the
no.
dome? Yeah.
Lisa's father is a very serious astronomer. Was I think she
Yeah, he's
inherited.
deceased. Yeah.
She inherited some very good kit.
Yeah, they already had quite a bit. That's why I was wondering if they kept that as well, or if they bought Bill's equipment as well. But
I don't think there would have been much left of Bill's stuff.
Mhm.
He just had a small SCT.
right.
Yeah, it was just an LX200, an old one.
Mm.
Eric's actually, if people remember Eric.
Yeah. And did anybody? I know at one point the current owners of Jack Newton's place were going to decommission the dome. Did anybody? Were there any takers on that, or did that one just get decommissioned basically? Anybody know?
You're talking about his residence in Souk?
Yeah, the one. Yeah.
Oh, don't know much about
Matt-
that.
Matheson Estates, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Bill,
that-
do you know anything about that, Bill?
No, that's a house up on Mount Matheson.
Yeah.
That would be a big dome because it's essentially the same as the one at Pearson.
Bill,
Yeah.
Bill, there's construction stuff for the Pearson Dome.
They don't need anything.
No, but if we were doing a story on observatories and stuff.
Oh,
I do have a bit. Well, I got something once from Alice Newton. She sent me sort of how they became involved, and it's all in photos. There's photo albums out there. I'm not sure where they are. You know, I was up there today, and right now the classroom of the observatory is a bedroom. There's a bunch of students that are living up there studying for their exams.
Mm.
I was out there last week one night, and I had a little speaker hanging off the side of my car, and I was playing a podcast or something like that, and I didn't know anybody was in there. Suddenly the door opens and it's like, we're trying to study in here. It's like, oh, sorry. So then I had to turn things down. It's like, oh, stop making noise. Yeah.
Did they have their full complement of students again this year, or was it much reduced?
I don't know how many are there. I think it's full complement of students. So I think there's like 160 or 150 students out there.
Wow.
But they're just, when I was talking to one of them who had been in the astronomy program last year, and she was saying like they're prisoners out there essentially.
They don't go anywhere, I guess.
They're not allowed off campus. And she
Right.
said there would be dire consequences if somebody got caught leaving. So I just, yeah. So.
Well, that's one way to control a pandemic, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've got some interesting things happening, and thanks again, David, for sharing the workshop you're at, and
Yeah, no problem.
Randy with our pocket sundial there. And one thing I think it said in their website too, that they also made it because there's a standard size for a pocket watch. Can't be bigger than, and this fits inside there. So it actually can be classed as a pocket watch.
It's actually a solar watch.
It is. So another fun fact.
And it works like an analemma, right? Because you slide the bar up and down.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. It's a little do-it-yourself analemma.
It does seem to be, as Randy's found, pretty accurate, and I would agree.
It does require usable skies, though.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Whenever the
sundials
I could see the sun, but it wasn't a really direct hard sun come between the clouds.
It fades, doesn't it? Yeah.
And you wouldn't want to
printed on it. I only count the daylight hours.
and you wouldn't want to use it to schedule trains.
So what was the company?
Kala, K-A-L-A.
Kala, okay.
Yeah. I think it's called pocketsundial.com or something like that.
Oh, okay.
On their website.
So what did people do if there was no sun, if people were using sundials for keeping time? What did
Church
they do?
bells.
Church bells. Okay.
Church bells and sand. Hourglasses.
Yeah, you find some way of, you need a chronometer of some form.
Yeah. Water clock, candles.
Yeah. Every time you had sun, you could resync.
Yeah. Well, and that was why I think, getting something that was mechanical ultimately was so important.
Yeah, to know where you were.
The Harvard Observatory, where they did the stellar classification and all that, didn't have any money coming in. They made their money from the university. They made their money doing the time signal for the Boston Harbor.
Yeah.
Actually, I heard they were almost about to decommission the WWV signals, but they changed their mind. But they were ready to decommission them.
Well, I guess they figure that we don't really need them with
I guess.
GPS and
I
things,
guess
but
so.
I mean, yeah, there's still a use for them, I believe.
But
Like they stopped teaching how to navigate by sextants for about 20 years. And then they realized that they can't count on GPS.
Mm-hmm.
So you're ready, right? You're ready, Randy, when everything falls apart.
Yeah, you can go anywhere now and set up.
Well, if you had a clock and you knew what time it was, you'd use that device in reverse to say where you were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works for a while, as long as you can calibrate the clock.
Yeah, and that was the attempt to have a very accurate chronometer that you could keep running indefinitely if you were heading off somewhere. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that somebody in the world is preserving some master clock.
Yeah, Yeah, once that EMF hits us, I think we're all going to have to walk down to Randy's place and ask him what time it is.
Right.
if it matters to us.
Maybe they'll go back to firing the noon hour gun at the ledge.
That's right.
I heard some young people don't know can't tell the time from a big hand and little hand style clock anymore. They're not teaching it.
Right. Yeah. So we'll throw another complication in now. You got to read a sundial.
I grew up in a town that had an air raid siren tested every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Trail.
Oh, I
think
guess
it was-
was that for emergency alerts?
Yeah, it was. I think it came from the Second World War because the heavy water was made there.
Right.
Oh,
But I was wondering if they were thinking that there could be trouble, I guess, if the smelter went. So is
It
that why
wa-
it was still there?
we were a smelter, so that was like in lead zinc. It was a
Yeah.
very important product. So we would always joke that we were in the line of fire. Right? We would be bombed if there was like a world war. There would be a site because it was part of industry. So every day,
Yeah.
at
We used
1
to talk
o'clock,
about that a lot in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
it went on.
which communities were targets?
it
How
went
many of
on
you
in-
guys grew up with the duck under your desk drill?
Yeah, not for earthquakes.
yeah, for earthquakes.
That wasn't
It
for
went
earthquakes.
on into the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up on an Air Force base in Winnipeg, and have a feeling that they thought, no, this under the desk isn't going to be any help at all. So.
No, we never got taught that.
Fun memories.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's it for this evening. Well, thank you for joining us and being here tonight. And hope everybody has a great week, and hope you can join us for Astronomy Day. And we'll hope we'll
Remember, you
get some
have to
clear skies.
register. You actually
Yeah.
have to register ahead of time.
Yes. And that information should be on out on Facebook and the website, I believe. And it's available through the FDAO, correct? Thumbs up, Lauri? Yes? Yeah. Very good. Okay, great. Well, thank you again, everyone. And we'll
Good
talk
night.
to you next week.